Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 4. Recap here from my Grandmaster Round Robin campaign. I've got 3 draws thus far, and my opponent is Kasa Corley, an international master who's got the Danish Federation as a flag, but actually also is from Brooklyn, New York. Now, my score against him is like 0-4. Over the course of my life, I have played him 4 different times. Every single time I've had black, he always plays the queen's pawn, and then he kind of plays whatever. And so before this game, I'm like, all right, I got to break this streak. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to play g6. And I'm going to play g6 because I think for a fact he is going to go back to the king's pawn. And he's a very strong player, but he doesn't go for like the ultra critical, cutting edge, like tactical shootout in the modern, which is, knight c3, bishop e3, or f4. And so I did that, and that actually completely did happen. He plays bishop c4, and the idea of this move is to play queen to e2 and castle and play e5. I kind of expected this, and I played the g6 course, by the way, and you should know that all my courses are 25% off until I'm back from my tournament. That's celebrating the launch of the intermediate bootcamp. This is in my g6 repertoire. And the idea is I want to very quickly push e5. If he plays d5, which is exactly what he does in the game, I'm actually just going to go back. And the ensuing position, which looks like this, is completely fine for black. Okay, white has more space, computer always gives some advantage, but we're going for a King's Indian, and he actually plays this to support the center, and then brings the bishop back to f1, which is sort of funny. The idea of this is he wants to play c4 and put a pawn there instead of a bishop, and this would be just a very typical King's Indian type of structure. So here I played e5 to make the position a King's Indian. I don't have to do that. I can play e6 and then maybe take, and we don't have a closed center. But I was like, you know what? No, let's try to play this in the style of King's Indian. And here to win space on the dark squares on the queen side, I played the move a5. A very common idea, knight a6, knight c5. And my logic was, I looked at his repertoire beforehand. He likes to put his bishop on e2. He has some experience playing King's Indians, but they're definitely not his favorite choice. And I was like, you know what? This will be a perfect way to have a complex game and actually try to win or, not draw, which I've been doing. He played bishop g5, and this move really, really confused me because it's not really clear to me what the idea is. If he takes, then his position doesn't make any sense at all because he put all his pawns on light squares and then traded off his dark squared bishop. And if he plays bishop to h4, well, the idea in the King's Indian is to pawn storm. So this just sort of plays into my hands, and now this bishop is just a complete moron. So I was like, okay. So then he went back. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I think the idea is that this is a little soft in some positions. And my whole point is I want to move my knight somewhere. Like, I want to move the knight, like, anywhere, to any of those squares, and then play f5, g5, blah, 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 blah. And this kind of baits me to go after his bishop, and then now I have a tough decision. I mean, do I play f5? h3 is coming, so I'm going to get forced back. So I play f5. He takes, and I'm like, man, do I take with the bishop or do I take with a pawn? My instinct is telling me pawn. I know that these 2 pawns together are like best friends in this position. If I take with the bishop, I still keep the f-file open, but I don't understand what I'm doing if he just kicks me out. So I have a pawn in the center and my bishop is active, but I think structurally white is still better. So I said, all right, you know what I'm going to take with the pawn? He forces me back. And here he played a very strange move, a move that I did not expect at all. He played g3. And the idea, I thought, was that, if he just goes ahead and plays this move, this knight is loose. So maybe he didn't like that. Maybe he didn't want to commit. Maybe he was like, I'm going to play g3, and then I'll keep my knight flexible. Oh, Jesus, that's not what he played. So he played g3. Very surprising move. That move really caught me off guard. So at this point, I started thinking, now, Kasa's playing style, in my experience, is if he gets a simple enough position, he's going to make slow and like steady improving moves, and he's going to let me think on my own time, and get me into a time trouble, and then basically just complicate matters a little bit, and I will just self-destruct. That is how he has beaten me the past few times we've played. So I tried to do a very conscious thing during this game. This is like all going through my mind. Like, okay, I need to play a little bit faster. Even if I'm not 100% certain of what the best plan is, I need to play fast, and I need to trust myself. So I played a very simple move, just knight to c5. I knew this was coming. And then here, I thought I was coming up with an absolutely genius idea. I was like, I'm going to put this knight here and play a backwards undeveloping move to support my knight. I also considered just keeping this knight here and playing b6. That also looked relatively reasonable. Because the thing is, he's never going to take, because this center is far too good for black. That is not a trade that he wants to make whatsoever. But I played this, and my logic was I'm going to kick his knight out, then put the knight where that pawn is, and then both knights are going to go for d3. Like, that position in my mind makes sense. That is the goal. Maybe I'll play b6. And then here, once again, he surprised me. I just didn't, like, even think of the move queen d2. It's not, like, a great move. It's a very, kind of, got a very simple threat. But I was like, can't I, like, blow open the position? Like, bam, bam, you know, if he takes queen f6, bam, bam, f-file, oh, I'm just completely winning. But he doesn't have to do that. He just goes here, and what have I actually done? So sometimes an attack looks good, and you open the king, but in reality, you have nothing. Like, you just have no move after bishop d4. And I was like, okay, well, I can't go f4. What if I take and then play, like, queen f6? But I realized that anytime my queen ventures over here, there is one problem in my position, and it's the fact that the b5 square hits c7, and there's no way for me to easily defend this pawn. I'm not going to go knight a6 because that's psychologically very difficult to do, and also just bad. This whole thing is bad. So I was like, okay, I can go e4. What do I do? And I'm like, I'm going to continue with my plan, and I expected knight h4. And then he went here. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm going to play knight e5, but first I need to, of course, defend my h7 pawn. I was like, okay, I'm going to defend my h7 pawn. And then I was like, wait a minute. He has a very simple idea in this position. Like, super simple idea. And his idea is to just reroute the knight in. Over here. Then his knight stands super strong, and then he's going to put his bishop on e2, and what am I even doing? So he played this. Now, I'm seeing the engine is saying to go knight here. Wait, I'm sorry. Oh, he blundered. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, knight e6, there is... Wait, what? Oh my god, I go here and I just sack my queen? I'm looking at the engine now. Oh, that's just ridiculous. Oh, wow. Yeah, so he played knight e2, and I mean, of course I saw that this was possible, but what if he just moves? Then I'm faster? What? I'm faster? Oh, I take on c4? That was, geez. Okay, well, I played knight e5. I did not see that. He went here, and here I started thinking for a long time. I just couldn't find a plan. I mean, I played, it's this moment in the game where you play every move that looks like it makes sense, and then you're like, what the hell am I doing? And again, I'm remembering that, you know, how he plays fast, and he's going to put pressure on the clock. And I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to play bishop here. At least this controls knight b5 in the future. I don't know where I want my queen. Like, do I want it there? Do I want to go here? So he just, of course, blitzes out this move in like 2 minutes. I'm like, I still don't know what to do, so I'm going to play a4, which in retrospect probably was a little too committal. Like, I'm just trying to not have him expand on the queen side. So I just pushed this pawn because I was trying to keep up with his playing style. He blitzed out this move, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to play queen f6, just trying to improve my position, plays king h1. He blitzed out king h1, which I don't necessarily think is a bad or a good move. It sort of gets the king out of the center, and yeah, at this point, I was like, well, I have officially played every improving move possible, and I have not gotten much. So I missed my one opportunity to win like a little tactical flurry. So what do we do now? All right, well, I don't want to tank, so I have about 18 minutes. I play this move, and he's got about 40, and he plays this. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, if I sit here and do nothing, he will just continue to improve his position, get my clock, like, very low, and then he will probably smash my face. And I was like, wait a minute, I have a very cool idea here. I can play knight d3. Like, this is always my idea. Of course, any you know, I control this square, so essentially, if I just go in, what's going to happen is I'm going to lose a pawn, but I'm going to get 2 bishops. But I need to do it the right way, because if I don't do it the right way, I'm just down a pawn, I have 2 bishops, and that's it. That's the end of the calculation. So when he put his rook on c3, in this position, I realized I could open the position advantageously because I can put my knight there. And so I did this. And he took, and instead of taking his bishop, I found this move. And this was so important because I am fairly certain he needs to sacrifice his rook. This opening of the position seems far too dangerous because when he goes king h2, I was like, all right, I have like 4 different moves. I need to play a quick move and not fall behind on time. One of these moves. I mean, I don't know what I'm... So I played queen g6, which the engine here is telling me is inaccurate, but the engine doesn't know anything about chess. What, bishop f4? What? What does this even do? Okay, whatever. Computer doesn't know chess. It's completely fine. So I played queen g6. My logic, I hit this, I want this, my rook is open, and the bishop pressures this, and so the knight can't really move. He goes rook h1. I'm like, all right, he's panicking. When he plays rook h1, I'm like, he's full panic mode. He's gonna try to, like, bring his rooks and cocoon, and I'm getting hyped. I'm thinking for a little bit. Here, I found bishop e5, and I was like, if bishop f4, I can play rook takes f4, pawn takes f4, and look at this would have been the most savage move I've ever played in my life. Queen to g5. He can't take because he's pinned, and if he takes the bishop, I take the queen, and the engine is telling me that after knight e2, white is better. Yo, I'm gonna slap the shit out of this computer right now. Like, I was getting so hyped for all these tactics, and the engine's like, buck, 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 knight e2, buck, 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 buck. Yeah, okay, anyway. So, I would have maybe not played it if I saw knight e2, but I was getting really excited. So, he goes rook c1. I'm like, all right, I see his idea. He wants this, and to just run with the king. And he wants to then attack me where I think I'm attacking him. Okay, rook slides up. I don't know if I want pressure on the f file or if I want backup on the g file. He plays rook g1. I bring my rook. By the way, computer now is saying to just throw in this move, which is really funny. That actually, I was thinking about this, because if he takes... my rook infiltrates on the other side, and I'm probably much better. And if he doesn't take, then this pawn's very good, because this pawn on a2 becomes an endgame liability. That's very professional. But okay, I played rook f8. And here I realized that if he plays rook g2, he's going to miss my tactic. I have a tactic, and the tactic is not queen h5. It's to flip my move order. And so now he can't take because it's mate. And so I was like, if he plays rook g2, oh my god, I'm winning, oh my god. And he played this, and I didn't even hesitate and just snap took that pawn. And somehow, this is not winning. And we'll get into that. Apparently, I need to not rush. I just got super hyped. I was like, oh my god, he made a blunder, and I had like maybe 8 minutes, so I'm like, I gotta boom. Yeah, I have more savage moves like rook f3, which I only realized after like 15, 20 moves. I was like, I could have just not taken anything. He can't even take this because, I mean, his king's just in jail and he's going to get mated. And if he doesn't take my rook, I mean, this is the most miserable position. Have you ever seen a more miserable position? Look at these pieces. I mean, this is and I realized I could have done this, but he could run and then I'd have to dig him out of there. But I did this and then he went here and I was like, oh my god. Am I even winning? Now, he can win my queen here, but this doesn't work because I have rook f2. And I crash through. He can't actually guard everything. The engine finds knight e2. Okay, I didn't see that. And I'm assuming that if he didn't play this, he also didn't see that. That is ridiculous. Neither one of us saw that move, and everything is safe. Wow. But he took. And then it hit me that I might not be winning at all. And welcome to phase 2 of this game. I was like, wait, I'm not winning. Because he's just threatening rook h6. I'm going to have to play h5. I have no other way. If I play bishop g7, his knight jumps in, and then he's just playing for a win. So I was like, okay, I got to take. He can't do rook h6 because I end up taking on f2. And I played this, and I'm like, how am I not winning this position? And he went here. And I'm not winning because I rushed. I gave him counterplay by taking on h3 just in case. So then I'm like, okay, I've got about 2 minutes here. He has about 12. He goes queen d1, and I saw this move. I actually saw this. I saw that my pawn was going to hang, but I didn't really see a way to defend e4. So then he takes, I go here, he checks me and rotates around, and I come back. And here I set a little trap. If he tries to get all hostile with me, I slide out of there with the 3-piece and the soda, and I unpin myself, and I threaten to take. And believe it or not, I can actually go for this position, and my king is completely safe. Wait, the engine is once again trying to argue with me? What did I do incorrectly? Oh, I have to throw in rook f3? Okay. Oh, and then I just sack? What? Oh, and then I check and I double on the f file and leave the h pawn. Wow, I hate computers. That is unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't see that. I'm not even going to pretend like I saw that. So, yeah, at this point, he starts just... I was like, what is he doing? And I was like, what is he doing? Like, where is he going? And when he played king d2, I played a move that really shocked him. I played b5, and here he started. He was just as nervous as me. By the way, the eval of this position is 0.00. And I was like, am I winning? Am I losing? If he takes my pawn, I play queen d5 check. I was very vigilant because I figured he was going to blunder like something. I mean, his time is so low. And then he did this, and I was like, is this dude out of his mind? And I realized that if I take on a2, he just goes like here. His king is safe. My rook is completely disconnected. This rook's not in the game, and maybe I'm the one who's in trouble. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give him a check, and then he went king b4. I was like, no way. This dude actually just played king b4. So I realized that I need to attack the king, and I have to fight with my pawns. I have nothing else. So I played d5, which threatens, in my opinion, to just win after d4. So he plays this move, which is very logical, preventing this. We both have about a minute on the clock here, both in total panic mode. And here I found a beautiful move. I was really excited to play this, and I thought I was just going to win. Not that one, actually. Here, c5. This is a crazy move. If he takes en passant, rook b8, and I just swarm him, which was the whole idea, because when my rook was here, I couldn't go rook b7, so I played rook e8 to play rook b8. So then I was like, if king c5, I mean, I don't know, he's probably going to get mated. I have like d4. And I was like, if bishop c5, my first instinct was that I was going to play rook c8. And this is a smart move because it just waits. I just wait for a move. The engine still finds ways to defend this, but he can't check me. And if he moves over here, then I take on b2, and it's very dangerous, is what I was thinking. Not to mention I could threaten to take, by the way, and like just get to his king somehow. I don't know. But I had this idea, and then I was like, wait, rook d3 is so smart. And then I played rook d3, and I'm like, okay, he can't move his queen like over there because I take on b2 and it's game over. So he has to go queen c2, queen e2, and then it hit me. This move is very challenging because it maintains defense and threatens h5, and I'm in some trouble. And then he picked up his queen and put it over here. And I was like, yo, this dude is about to run his king to a5. And here I was like, all right, I think I'm just going to lose this game. There's nothing I can do. I mean, if I play rook a8, king b6, how do I prevent his pawns from just coming in? I can't even, if he goes here, like king a7, king c7, white is winning. White is just completely winning, especially because he's over here. And I'm like, okay, let's just trade queens. Let's trade the queens. Probably I am losing, but I'm going to try to hold this because his pawns are super strong. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose this game. He plays b6. We both have about 40 seconds, maybe like a minute, minute and a half at most. I'm like, okay, well, I have a passed pawn. I probably should push my pawn. And that is a losing move, apparently, because of b7, but here he took on h5. And with my final breath, I decided not to push one of my pawns, not to give a check, but I tried to set a little trap, and I actually ended up trapping myself. The trap here is that it's mate. So rook a8 is a mate. This is the stupidest ladder mate of all time, but it's mate. Mate is mate, okay? Mate is mate. And then I realized I lost the game. I played the move rook b2, and I was just simply ready to resign, because rook h8, always look for checks. Bye-bye. If I take bishop d4, and I'm just losing the endgame, and if I don't take, I move my king up, he trades rooks, he wins my pawn, the game is over. So I'm sitting there waiting to resign, and he reaches for his king, and he plays king a6, and I'm like, let's go! Let's go! Now it's a draw again. So king c7, I gotta push my pawn. He pushes, and I play rook c4. And the idea of this is he's totally frozen, and my pawn is just in time. His rook cannot stop the promotion and save the bishop. So he goes here. Now, he also probably could have played rook d5. Yeah, so he queens, and I push. And now he has to go and get my pawn. I sack the rook for the bishop. He can't take it. And this endgame is a draw if I play it accurately. Now, yeah, the engine here is telling me I saw this. I can just sacrifice, and his rook cannot defend both pawns. For example, rook g5. The only reason I didn't go for this is I was just a little hesitant to, like, get this endgame. I thought maybe he would push. So I didn't sack the pawn. I brought my king. He went after my rook. I brought my king. Now, it's important you don't cross the middle here because f3, and there are some positions where, like, it's a little bit scary. I decided to just keep my king on f5, and I have to cut his rook off. This is ultra important. If you screw around in this endgame and, like, I don't know why you would do this, move your rook over here, it's probably still a draw, but gives you unnecessary headaches. I keep his king cut off on the c-file, and I was realizing that when he offers me this trade, I am just in time to trade. And you have to calculate your king and pawn endgames correctly. He could have tried to do this and then trade like with rook c3, and this is losing for me because the king gets closer one square to the pawn. But if I just don't trade, if I go here, it's just a draw. I mean, I have too much activity. His pawns are just not very good. So he goes here. We trade. And again, if the king is 1 square closer to d4, it's a draw because this is the idea. And I'm threatening this and to push. And he goes here. I trade. And now you have to take the correct pawn. You have to go for opposition in king and pawn endgames. And king versus king. Wow. 2 points out of 4. Completely insane draw. I have 53 minutes at the time of finishing this recording before my next game. Thank you all for your continued support, and I will see you in round number 5.